Hi everyone! If you're new here, my name is Jamie and I post vlogs, lifestyle and finance videos here on my channel every Sunday. So I know I've been coming at you with a lot of vlogs recently, but I'm back with a sit down video. And I don't know about you, but I love the new year feeling. I love going into the new year with like a blank slate and that fresh feeling. There's a lot to get done to feel like my life is in order, and today I'm gonna try and get my finances in order. So I thought it would be useful to share how I'm resetting my budget for the new year. I really hope you find this useful. If you do, please let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. So we're gonna start with a new Excel spreadsheet. Ooh, I love that new document energy. So we're gonna start with a new tab, and I don't usually do this, but I thought it would be nice to write down my financial intentions for the new year. I'm gonna leave it as a tab at the very start of the document so I can always come back to it and remind myself whenever I'm budgeting and tracking my expenses, which is very frequent. So it's just a good landing page in my budget. I'm just sharing some of my personal financial goals and how I think about money. So I feel like with the new year, it's just the perfect time to ask yourself, what are your financial intentions? So for example, do you want to educate yourself a bit more about finance and investing? Do you want to save up a 6-month emergency fund? Do you want to cut back on particular things like Uber Eats? Or do you want to cut back on Afterpay purchases? I know that's been a big one recently for many people. So I feel like mapping them out in a tab like this might be really useful. I prefer to have broader intentions and just a few of them. So, you know, like 3 to 5 intentions. I find that with a long list of intentions, it can make me feel very overwhelmed and just a little bit scattered in my thinking. I prefer a focused approach, but definitely do what works for you. Try to dedicate some time and think about your upcoming intentions for the new year. I just feel like when you have that so clearly set out in your mind, it's really useful when you're confronted with temptations, when you see a good discount, etc., and you feel like splurging. It's a nice reminder to think about what you actually want to do with your money and what will make you happy. So speaking of sales, I've been thinking about how I can shop a little bit more strategically. So the holiday period and sales like Black Friday sales and Boxing Day sales, when they come around, I'm always thinking, why? Why do I shop at any other time? Because these sales are so good. So I decided to do some research, and I jotted down some of the periods where I know there are going to be sales because they happen every year. I think it might be helpful for me to plan when I'm going to be shopping, especially when I know I have expenses coming up. So for example, when I know I'm going to be shopping for gifts for my friends' birthdays or anniversaries with my partner, I can see which is the closest sale period, for example. I know I may not follow this list religiously, but I think it would at least make me think twice before I'm splurging in an off-sale period. Because I know myself and I really love a good discount. I love shopping the sales. So if you're the same, you might want to try out this approach. I've never done this before, but I gotta say I'm feeling pretty good about it. I like this addition to my spreadsheet. Moving on to the January tab, this is where we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty. And apologies if I'm looking down, but I'm doing the spreadsheet at the same time as I'm recording this. So I always break things down by fortnight because this is how I get paid. For me, it just personally makes sense doing it in alignment with my pay cycle, and I've been doing this for a few years now, so I like the flow that I've got going on. So the first two rows will indicate salary and any additional income from my other sources of income. I didn't have this row before, so it was a little bit messier when I received other income outside of my salary, so I thought it would be neater this year just to have those two green rows. It's just cleaner. Then I'm going to go through my rent and bills. So I have a dedicated rent and bills account, and I have an automatic transfer going to this account, and all my bills are automatically paid from that account. I just like having that streamlined. So since I don't know my utilities in advance, like there are obviously bills that I know that are coming up, like my internet and my phone, but I don't know what the exact figure is going to be for my water, gas, and electricity. So I just put in a buffer for those utilities. And if you've recently moved out, I think it's always really useful to kind of just go through your last billing cycle and see what you've been spending, so you kind of know how much you should be contributing per month or per fortnight. So for this rent and utility section, I'm not adding other things like subscriptions because I really just want to separate that from bills. I think it's a bit dangerous if I'm going to start thinking about my Netflix subscription or my binge subscription as a bill. So these bills are not entertainment. And one thing I will explain though is that I do put the gym in the bills category just because I feel like it's so fundamental to my health that I don't see it as entertainment. Maybe that's a technicality you don't agree with. But anyway, I'm then using a different color to note my savings and then an investment contribution. So this doesn't mean that I'm investing fortnightly, but I'm setting aside money consistently and frequently, and I'm going to be investing that amount. And then we're putting in my other goal accounts. I guess some other people call them sinking funds. So for instance, I've got my holiday fund and I have my home fund. And I know that sounds like a lot of accounts because it probably is. I just like having my separate buckets. I don't do well when it's just like one figure. It's a bit too messy for me. After my salary and my additional income is sorted to all those different buckets, we come to the remaining balance figure. Just to summarize, that remaining balance figure is my salary plus additional income minus rent, minus bills, minus savings, minus investment, minus holiday fund, minus home fund, and that's the money I have for everything else, which is what I call my discretionary spending. So under this discretionary spending, I've just listed a few more subcategories than I had last year. So for example, like outings and shopping. But this is where I'm least rigid, I think, because every fortnight is so different for me. So for example, I might have a larger grocery shop than normal one fortnight, and that means I will be going out to eat less, and my going out to eat expenses are a lot less than maybe the next fortnight where I have a lot more social catch-ups. I just don't like to be super rigid in terms of, you know, this is how much I want to spend on entertainment, this is how much I want to spend on groceries. I just like to leave that flexibility open in my lifestyle, and my mentality is, because I've been putting aside all that money for my savings and my financial goals, I'm being good, I can enjoy my discretionary spending a little bit more. And I've reflected that taking on this approach has made me feel not restricted, even though I'm putting in a lot of money towards other purposes besides that discretionary spending category. Now, on the right-hand side of my spreadsheet, I like to keep live trackers so I can check in during that fortnight to see how much I've spent and how much I have left for that fortnight. Now I want to create a goals tab in my spreadsheet. So for example, I mentioned I have that holiday fund, sinking fund. So I'm going to input what my starting balance is for this holiday fund. So how much I already have in that account as of the 1st of January. And I find this really useful because, for instance, Key and I have a honeymoon coming up, and we want to be contributing X dollars to that honeymoon, so I kind of know how much I need to save, and then I work backwards from that date, so I know how much I need to be setting aside every fortnight to be able to hit that financial goal. So that's kind of how I calculate my contributions. But with this goals tab, it's a bit more of a tracker and just a way to feel a little bit more motivated to achieve my financial goals. At the start of every month, I'm going to be recording how much I have in that account, just so I have that really clear picture of how much that account is growing. I might do even a little side graph next to it so I can see like a little nice line graph to really show my growth. It's something that makes me feel really motivated. I did something similar to this when I was first saving up for my 6-month emergency fund. I'm going to be doing that for my sinking funds, so my holiday fund as well as my home fund. So you might find this approach to be useful if you have long-term financial goals. So for example, if you're saving up for a car, if you're saving up for a wedding or a home deposit, it's kind of like when you're finally getting into a workout routine, and when you finally see progress, it motivates you even more and more to keep hitting the gym. That's how I feel about my little financial goal trackers. When I see that figure getting bigger and bigger, I just feel very satisfied with the progress that I'm making. So that's what I'm gonna do with all my sinking funds. So I've got my new spreadsheet ready to go. I feel very good, feel very fresh for my new year finances. I really hope you found this video useful. Please let me know in the comments what are some of your financial intentions for 2022. I would love to hear about it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!